It is 7 a.m. in the woodlands nearby, and I'm having a go at a drawing of the trees. The light is changing quickly now, so I think I've done enough for a little drawing for reference. I have my drawing ready to use as a reference for the painting. I added a few more little darks to it just so I could get a nice contrast. I'm going to use 3 paints, permanent Carmine, French Ultramarine and Aureolin. In this video I'm going to use a different brush. I'm going to use what's called a Dagger brush, and it's got a long head and it is pointy to one side, and it's lovely for painting branches and squiggly lines, especially if you want to loosen up. And it is a silver black velvet brush, and it's 3/8 of an inch, and it's really great. Now in this demo I've actually started painting already, so that I've got to the point where I'm going to paint the tree that I want to show you. Otherwise the demo would be really a long demo. I've left my sky area unpainted, and I've raised my board slightly, and I'm spraying it with some water because I want some areas to be dry and some areas to be wet, so I can drop in my foliage. It creates a lovely foliage if you do this. I'm dropping in Aureolin to start with, and I'm just starting with the top part because I want to keep that Aureolin wet so I can drop in other colours. Of course I'm going to come in with the blue, and which creates the green. Here we go, and it's just lovely when it's wet. It just merges beautifully. I love seeing what happens. You know, you don't have that much control over it, you just let it happen on the paper. That's lovely. Add a little bit of red to it as well. There's always a little bit of red there in the greens. And then I'm going to do some little bit of branches here and there. Of course the paper is half wet, half dry, which is nice, so I don't get that sort of hard look. And then I'm coming in with a bit of the trunk. I'm using a mixture of the blue and red with a tiny touch of yellow for the trunk and for the branches. And I want the paint to be all wet so that the branches merge into the leaves. Don't get all those hard lines. Now because I've sprayed the paper, the paint does dissipate a bit, so I'm going to have to add quite a bit more as I go. Now I'm coming down with a little bit of foliage further down, so I've sprayed the paper again and adding the Aureolin, and then a little bit of more trunks there, and let the paint run into each other. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if the paint goes into the green parts of the leaves. Now I'm watching how, as the paint sort of slowly dries, it's still actually wet, so I can add more paint to it and make it a little bit stronger in colour. I don't want a wishy-washy painting. I'm going to paint a very strong watercolour with lots of strong colour, and that's not always so easy when you spray paper. This brush is great for doing the branches because it's got such a lovely point, and if you hold it sort of far back, it sort of squiggles about the page and creates some interesting marks, which I love. I'm just going to now add a bit of foliage under the tree on the right hand side. It's just going to be an impression of foliage. I don't want it that light, so and then I'm going to paint the bank on the right hand side. Start off with a bit of yellow and then drop in some of the blue and red to create an impression of a bit of grass and plants, maybe stones. A bit of foliage at the bottom of the tree on the other side, and slightly darken the trunk there at the bottom. And now I need to sort out this dirt track. It's a sort of a little dirt road where the farmers drive their tractors down to reach their fields, and I just want a little bit of splatter. I'm just splattering the road. This is to go under where I'm going to paint shadows. So I just need a sort of a basic colour. I don't want it to be white, but it's quite a light colour because the sun is shining through on it. Now I'm going to paint my shadows, and I'm going to use a mixture of the French Ultramarine and Carmine with a touch of yellow in it to slightly grey it off, otherwise it'll look very purple. And I've sprayed the paper so that I get some soft edges and some hard edges without having to do too much to it. And we'll see how that goes. I think I need to restate the shadow here, well, add the shadow to the left hand side under the trees, and to slightly darken some of these trees so that they come forward. Those trees in the middle there in the background, I want them to go be further back to create a three-dimensional picture. There's quite a nice shadow area there in the foliage. There's quite a bit of foliage there that I need to state. Now I need some shadow under my tree. Trees always need to be grounded into the earth when you're painting them. Otherwise they look like they're stuck on or cutouts. So the light is always darker under a tree, even on a cloudy day. There's more dark shadows under there. So I'm just going to ground it into the earth and then add a bit of shadow to that bank. In the final stage of the painting, I want to add a few more darks here and there, restate some of the shapes so that I can get that lovely light coming through at the back there, and the shade that was under the trees. So I'm just going to add a few more darks here and there, Even the road I'm going to add a little bit of more colour to. In order to add some more dark areas to my foliage, I just spray my foliage area again and then drop in some thicker paint, blue with yellow, dark green with a little bit of red as well, just to add a little bit more contrast. I love doing a bit of splatter when painting trees, so I take my palette knife and get a bit of paint on. It's much more controllable using a little palette knife than rather your brush. It doesn't matter which you use, but I prefer that because then the splatter goes exactly where I want it. I think I'm finished now. When I'm nearing the end of a painting, I often stand the painting up and then walk away from it, look at it from quite a distance, and you can sort of see certain things that need attention and need sorting out. I'd lost a bit of light here, so I used my little lifting brush, which is a nylon brush, put a bit of water on it and just lift the paint and dab it with a tissue. I wanted the little road track to sort of do this, so I also lifted a little bit there. I do hope you've enjoyed this video. If you'd like to see some of my other videos, please go to my channel, Diane McNaughton Painter, and click on videos at the top, and you'll see a full list of my videos where I'm starting right at the beginning. So those of you who are new painters would like to learn about brush strokes and mixing on the paper, please go to those videos and have a look, and please subscribe. Thank you.